Subway. That's true.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
I've got another question about the tuna, the ideal tuna sandwich, because do you know where I go? Well, I genuinely think has the best tuna sandwich in the country.
Oh, okay, that's a statement. Which one?
I'm really hoping you drive up to Grimsby or something like that. There's a particular.
Okay, it is.
Fresh from the port.
It's Pret. I'm convinced
Really?
Pret do a really, really good tuna mayo, no sweet corn.
The line court one.
I genuinely think it's the best tuna mayo sandwich in the world. In the country, in the world.
Wow, okay. So that's just a normal sandwich, it's not like a
Just
baguette.
a normal sandwich. And the baguette as well is quite good, but it's so many tuna, and it's the right amount of salt that you just think, this is really good. It's done well.
I would say the best tuna sandwich, not to be arrogant, I'd say mine is up there.
Yeah, I'm the same. I'm kind of a food snob, and like for the past 5 years I've been like learning to cook and stuff, and like now my bolognese sauce, for instance, I won't give the recipe away to people, because even my girlfriend, when we went to Italy, where, you know, this stuff is, you know, rife, like she was like, your bolognese is still the best.
You don't want the Italians to hear about it.
No, I don't want to give it out to my friends or anything, because I think one day...
Oh, you're mad. I thought you were worried that Italy, the country, would steal it and improve their own bolognese.
Just like, put me in prison, it's too good, he's going to put us out of business. Ban him.
I tell you, Dad, this is I will give you one little tip from my tuna sandwich. I am willing to release the inside genius,
right.
Which is I do tuna with mayo, but I use Kewpie mayo. Kewpie mayo is a Korean mayo.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good shout.
Which has a sort of slight sweetness with it. I also put sweet corn in it, I do like that. I also put a little bit of sweet chili, like the Chinese sweet chili dipping sauce, a tiny bit through it. Toasted bread.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
A little bit spicy. Spicy tuna sandwich.
That does sound good.
It has got a bit of a kick. I now want to know what's going on. So amazing.
Well, in case you didn't hear, Tommy, he will never tell you. He will never tell. So, Daz, talk to us a bit about what you do and how often you're eating takeaways as you're doing it.
There is an Italian chain. They're called Rusticos, and there's about 3 restaurants. I think they're about to open up a 4th one in East Sussex. And hopefully they're going to have a London-based firm. They're like this Italian family, and their food is just remarkable. It's amazing. I'm always like, I think once a week, like cheat day or something, I'll order one of their pizzas or their lasagnas.
What's your go-to Rustico takeaway?
They do like an aubergine-based lasagna.
Oh wow!
Oh, that sounds good.
With their meat sauce, it's just layers of aubergine and herbs. That's one I go to often because it's healthy as well. But if I'm going to go all out, full cheat mode, I'm going to go for their pizza. And you custom make your pizzas there, so I go with like the chicken, the onion, all the peppers, oregano, like parmesan. I might sometimes put pepperoni with the chicken, mix it up. It's a beast, and they're huge. They're like 19-inch like round pizzas.
And do you go and collect that? Because there's a little Italian near my house. I live in East London, in Clapton, and there's a place that has a sort of stone-baked oven. And I've recently discovered it, and it never does delivery because it's so popular, it doesn't need to. And I've got the pleasure of picking up a pizza, which is something I haven't done for like years. There is something quite nice about doing that and waiting and walking home.
You need something, huh?
I don't know if
One of your
that's
rides?
what you do, or are you still a
Let me know.
Deliveroo sort of person?
Down here, we don't get Deliveroo. All we get is Just Eat, and we've got about 5 options on there, like a couple of Indians, like Rusticos, and this like
It's on the way.
Jamaican place, which I'll never try again. It was awful. So bad. So I tested it when I first moved here, because where I was living even more rurally, where there were no options. You had to drive to go get it. First time using Just Eat, and I just had like a hot tub put out in the garden. I was like, wait a second. I'm going to see if I can order a pizza and put in the instructions for them to just come through the back gate and deliver it to the hot tub.
Like Tony Montana.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So I just literally had this pizza in the hot tub, and then I realised why you don't order a pizza to a hot tub.
Yeah. Okay, talk us through the pizza in the hot tub, because
absolutely.
I think you've got a huge issue here with the closeness to water.
Yeah, and chlorine and chemicals and all the stuff you don't want in your mouth.
Was the pizza still inside the box, and where were you putting the box? Was it on the side of the hot tub, and then you were going slice by slice, trying to get it from the top, or were you holding the whole thing hovering above the water?
There was no real way to put it on the edges. It has got like like a drinks holder, and that's it. There's no sort of places. And I really wanted to get one of those, like, you know, those floating tables you can get off Amazon.
Oh, they exist! I was about to suggest that as my great business idea. They actually exist, do they?
Oh, they exist, yeah. They float around.
Oh, I'm sure that was my money-making scheme.
Yeah, it's great. They don't do well for drinks, they just wobble everywhere, but, you know. So I put it on the stairs just outside of the hot tub, like, they've got 2 steps that go up into it, and I plopped it on there, and I'm eating it, and everything's going well, and I look round, and my dog is standing in my pizza. He's just got up on the steps. I've gone to take a slice, and he's just stood there looking at me. He's got his paws in my pizza, so I didn't finish it. I had no idea where he'd been in the garden.
Oh my God, that's
not great.
Here's an idea, and I'm pretty sure this is something you'll definitely do. It's such a sensible idea. You could take the water out of the hot tub and then fill it with Domino's garlic and herb dip. And make it like a huge dip and have a big pizza party. And your friends should just go and dip the pizza in the hot tub.
Yeah.
There's 15 gallons of garlic and herb dip in the corner if anyone's interested.
We've had like discussions about filling it with gravy.
Okay.
Imagine that.
I feel like these got to advanced negotiations.
What sauce will ruin my hot tub?
For you to then sit in it?
100% sit in it. I've always wanted to have a bath in gravy. I don't know why. I've always wanted to.
What kind of, are we just talking a Bisto gravy, or are we talking like a
Bisto gravy should be annihilated.
I agree with that, Daz. I agree with Daz.
It's not gravy. It's weird flavoured water. That's what it is.
And it's too thin.
But then if you're filling a hot tub with it, you need to think about the cost, the price of this. You probably do need to go for a cheap granular gravy. You can't be going for a decent stock gravy filling the whole hot tub because you have to sell your house to afford that.
And in fact, if you want to make it a really good gravy, you're going to have to turn the hot tub actually into a pan first to roast off some chicken or some beef, and then you can deglaze it with the stock. And then
I love the thought that's going into this already.
This is like, Simran, I'll tell you what this is. This is like the classic British spa experience. So you have, you wallow in some gravy, then you lie down, they put 2 Yorkshire puddings on your eyes, and you listen to sort of calming music.
In fact, the hot tub should just be a Yorkshire pudding. That's what it should be.
This is really good. Guys, I think we're onto something here.
I think we are.
Truly British relaxing spa experience. If listeners have any other ideas that we can add to this, do send them to us. We will. We'll read them out. Yeah, we will. Because why not?
Well, I got the idea actually from going to this. It was this spa day. I took my friend. It was his stag do. It's in London. It was these underground Roman spas. I forget what it was called. And they had a hot tub that they actually filled with red wine.
Oh,
and you could just sit and bathe in red wine. I'm like, this is ridiculous.
God, that is actually disgusting.
It's really gross. And I wouldn't drink it afterwards, but yeah.
So you did it, did you?
It unfortunately was closed at the time. They can only have so many bookings, but it must be so expensive to fill it full of wine. It just, you sit in it empty, and it comes up. It slowly fills up with red wine, and you could see it was all stained from where the last guest. For some reason, I have to try it.
Wow, that's incredible.
Can you drink the wine?
If I've been sat in it in my shorts, I don't think it's going to have a very nice aftertaste.
It's not going to be 100% wine, is it?
No.
I don't think by that point. There's going to be other things floating around in that. Okay, Rustico is your Italian option. What are the other options you have around you in the country?
So I do have a Chinese, and they've recently changed hands. I was like good friends with the owner, and they would deliver out to me because they liked me. And then they sort of changed hands, and food is still really good, but they don't deliver anymore. And I always go there. I get the chicken and black bean sauce, egg fried rice. That's my go-to Chinese meal, and the duck pancakes, of course. I'm gonna go with the duck pancakes.
What do you think makes a good duck pancake? Are you heavy on the hoisin sauce? How are you constructing that?
I'm so heavy on flavour. I want to be able to taste it. That's when I go, because my girlfriend's American. So when I go over to the States, when I first went there, I was like, I can't wait to try what KFC's like here. And I see and everything is so bland. So when my girlfriend come here and she tried our KFC, she's like, I could actually taste spices and herbs. I was like, yes, that's how it's meant to be. So flavour. So
there's a difference even with the sort of mainstream takeaway. You try, for example, McDonald's out there. Does that taste different as well?
It does taste different. It tastes. It's hard to explain. It's just very bland. Like their KFC. When you got a little bit of spice, a little bit of pepper, you can taste the different flavours. And out there, it is just flavorless fried chicken. It doesn't taste like ours. It's quite greasy, and there's not a lot of seasoning that goes into it. And I've been all over America, and it's okay. The best chicken was down in Tennessee, which is some fried chicken it's going to be.
Yeah.
The seasoning that they use, and it's so moist as well. Like, it's not dry. It's all cooked fresh. They know what they're doing down there. And I haven't been to Kentucky. I imagine their chicken down there is, I've heard rumors it's amazing. But it's just the flavor in it, and the texture is just cooked perfectly. It's wonderful.
You mentioned that your Chinese takeaway shouldn't deliver to you, but it does because it likes you.
Yeah.
That's something I've never come across before on this show. That you have such sway. So how has that happened? What's happened there?
I don't know. Like, I would go there with my daughter, and it's about 20 minutes away.
Oh wow! So it's a fair old journey.
It's quite a journey, and I don't know. We were just always laughing with the owner and stuff, and I was just like, I wish I lived closer. Like, I would order, your takeaway. He's like, where do you live? And I told him, and just say your name, and I know you guys and your daughter. Like, we'll just do it for you. And I was like, wow.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah.
So maybe there's something the listeners could do. If there's a restaurant they particularly like, even if it's sort of, an hour and a half away, if you take the time to really get on with the owners, go down with your daughter, crack a few jokes.
Are they fans of yours, Daz?
Oh, no, they have no clue. I don't think they watch YouTube.
Hey, so the guy you're escorting home?
Went well.
But it's interesting because some of our listeners don't know everything about you. It is interesting to see your journey. Tell us a bit about when that started.
So it's 2013 when Vine, if we remember Vine, when it was alive, I just started making dumb videos, which I can't watch today. They're awful. And then one day I made one Vine, and literally I woke up the next morning and I had like 40,000 new followers overnight.
Wow.
I was like, okay, this is something, so I'm going to put more effort into this. So I came up with a bunch of weird characters. One of them I came up with my daughter. It's called Happy Cloud. I just put bubbles on my head and left like eye holes and like a mouth, and I was like this talking cloud who was like creepy and wouldn't go away.
It's good enough.
Oh, it's bizarre. There have been many attempts. There's actually an account now on TikTok I've seen that and follows me, and his whole account is the same thing, and he's clearly very inspired by this bubble monster that he's invented. So it's nice to inspire the next generation to be weird.
Because you're now at a situation where you have some 8 million subscribers on YouTube. That's crazy. What was the point where it went so exponentially huge like that?
So I made once I hit 1 million online, I thought I'm not going to put all my eggs in one basket. I'm going to make a YouTube channel, and I thought, that's great. I got 1 million followers on Vine. They're all just going to come over, and I have 1 million subscribers on YouTube, which is where everyone wants to be and make it online. And that didn't happen. They were like, no, you suck as a YouTuber. Just stay as a Viner. We don't need more gamers. And I was like, so no one came over, and I realized if I was going to do this, I was going to have to grow this organically. It was the same thing again. I made a video, and then 2 days later, boom, 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 it just escalated, and I just shot up to, from about like 10,000 followers to about like 150,000 followers. And that was it. It was actually what it created the Daz Watches series I do, where I react to viral videos online and give my comedic input. And it was off the back of, I don't even know if I could tell this story. I reviewed, do you remember the game Happy Wheels?
Yes. Yeah,
you play it online. It's just this guy on a bike, and you have to navigate this obstacle course without killing you and his son in the process. Because it was a web-based game, there were adverts that played before. There was this advert popped up whilst I was recording, and I'm waiting for the advert to finish. And it was for this male sex toy called the Auto Blow, and it's in the name. It's horrendous, and I caught my reaction to it naturally, and I watched it back because I was just going to delete it and then get off the game. But I released that as a separate video, and I was like, and it was Daz Watches the Auto Blow, and it blew up. it just blew up by reaction to this weird cup that men have been using.
The Auto Blow blew up, isn't it?
It did. When the end, because the owner of the company saw the video and sent me one.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Still got it.
I did an unboxing and I never used it because I pulled the sleeve out of it, this massive long rubber sleeve, and it's just all these metal springs that go up and down, and I'm like, there's no part of me that's entering that cup. And then I hit it with a sledgehammer and I did a laser video, and that was how I kind of blew up, and Daz Watches became a thing.
And now
That's
you're
amazing.
doing incredible things. Like, I love the video idea for recreating your survival games that you play, where you and a friend went to an island. For how long was it? And you tried to survive. That's basically what happened, isn't it? Take me through that. And also, in line with that, with this being a takeaway show, what were you eating?
Me and my friend Dave, a bit more Dave, on YouTube, we played games for like years, and we got into these co-op survival games. And I just one day said to him, I think we were playing Raft, when we had to build a raft, float around and find different islands and stuff. Really cool. And then it was just a light bulb moment. I was like, actually, what if we did this for real? So when the camera stopped rolling, I said, Dave, I've got an idea. What if we went to and he said, that's insane. Like, we'll die, essentially. And after, I was like, Dave, I'm doing this, and I really want you to do it. We'll call it Daz and Dave Survival. Are you in? After much convincing, he was in. And so I started producing it, and I found an island in Malaysia. I got my friend Lewis in, who's like an amazing cinematographer. And I was like, the three of us, we're going to go out there bare bones, and we're going to build a raft, like in the games, to get off this island to the mainland. And we're going to do it for real. And we did. We did it for real.
That's insane.
I wanted to do it as bare bones as possible, but after hiring a local producer there and the Malaysian Film Institute, they were insisting we couldn't do it as bare bones, so we had to have a tent. We woke up one night in our hammocks and there was like a 7-foot monitor lizard making its way underneath us and stuff like that. So it was very dangerous. There was those crabs and things would crawl up the beach. So we had to have tents and hammocks and knives and stuff.
I think that's fair enough. That doesn't seem like a huge concession, having a tent.
No, they just don't want us to die, literally. So
Yeah. We took a VW camper van.
Well, that was the thing. That was the worry, because there was an abandoned hotel across the ocean. It was always in the background, and you don't see until the end that it's actually a hollowed-out building. I wanted to prove to people that we were on this island. I have permanent scars like all over my knees now from the coral, making my way around the island each day. I have like sun damage on my back and stuff. Like, we really went out there and did it for real.
And what were you eating when you were on this island? What was your food?
We had 3 items that we could bring from the real world to help us. And so I brought like a fold-out rod, which is Lewis.
I was really hoping the first one was a foot-long tuna sandwich from Subway.
I bring my Subway card.
Subway, a bread, and I got a grilled tuna sandwich. I got all the cheese sandwiches.
and the autoflow as well.
Yeah, I brought the auto. I think it's still cursing to this day.
So what were your 3 things? Fishing rod?
I had a machete, I had a fire lighter, which so you could strike it and light, because I didn't want to bring a lighter, I thought that's too easy. And I had a rod, quite an experienced fisherman, I've done a lot of sea fishing, and just to get across those razor-sharp, slippery rocks, it would take about half an hour for me to just climb across these rocks safely and find a place to fish where I wasn't going to get snagged. And I was catching these long eagle fish, they're like these predator fish, and they get enormous.
Wow.
So we had quite a lot of fish. We found a bunch of coconuts, we were eating them and drinking them, and it rains at least once a day in Malaysia. So I wasn't worried about water. But I even tried a little hermit crab, but we didn't get it on camera because Lewis was on the mainland. But I tried eating a little bit of a hermit crab, boiled it in some water, it was lovely.
Amazing. Incredible. Simran, fittingly, we have a question which relates perfectly to this.
Yeah, which is, you're on a desert island.
Yeah.
Have you got any desert island dips, Daz? You can only choose 3 dips to have.
Or condiments. We'll take condiments as well, that's fine.
Or condiments, but that's it. So let's say you're back on the island and you've got a choice of 3 dips or condiments that you can take with you.
You've got a needlefish out to sea or a crab.
It's got to be like a garlic dip.
Would that be like a Papa John's type garlic dip? Or what sort of dip are we looking at there?
You know, like the Domino's garlic dip?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, just strong garlic mayo dip, like, absolutely. And because there's seafood out there, I'd probably want to bring a prawn sort of paste. I forget what it's called. It's like the pink sauce. What's it called?
Like sambal or something?
Yeah, something like that. You dip like crab sticks in and stuff, fresh crab. And then straight up barbecue sauce because I can spread that because we were just cooking. I caught this tiny little flatfish, and you could just smear that in some like barbecue sauce on the skin and just roast that on fire. Done. Barbecue fish.
Is it particularly satisfying having caught your own meal and preparing it? Does it have a different quality to it?
Well, last year I invested in a sea boat because I go out on my boat and I catch fish like pollock and cod and I bring it home and I cook it the very same day. So it's the freshest fish that you could possibly have. And I do like...
Do you let them swim around in your hot tub until the moment you're about to cook them?
Well, unfortunately, we gut them at sea. Like,
okay, right.
But now you've said that...
So but it feels particularly satisfying, that, does it?
It's always satisfying. It's very addicting. I do a lot of fresh water and, of course, it's catch and release. But bringing home... and I bought a fryer recently so I could, I did like a beer batter, put it on my cod, just fried it, and it's unmatched. It's so fresh.
Oh. Now, taking you back a bit to your younger years, did you have takeaways growing up as a kid?
We never had takeaways as a kid. We were very poor. My mum and dad separated, and she would work 3 jobs. Like she worked in a bingo hall and a cleaner, and they weren't very high-paying jobs. So we would have McDonald's. So we would go there for a birthday or something like that. And I also, growing up, I can't remember the name for it. I did Google it once and I found exactly what I was suffering with. I had a strange eating disorder where I would look at food and if it visually looks a bit off, I wouldn't eat it. My toast, when my mum would, when you scrape butter on toast...
Okay, we're gonna sell this stuff, and there might be a cash bonus in it as well. If, and only if, the delivery vehicle looks decent when he inspects it. That means don't bang it around.
Nothing touching, no cheese. Everything would have to be very bland and plain and visually pleasing to the eye, otherwise I couldn't put it in my mouth.
What changed?
I grew out of it, I think, when I was a teenager, when I was about 15. My friends, we went to again McDonald's for her birthday, and ordering a plain hamburger at McDonald's back then, they just didn't do it. It wasn't an option, so you'd have to wait for yours. So I ordered that and it came through and it was just a normal double cheeseburger, and I remember being so hungry and I was like, I'm gonna try it, and I tried it, and mentally I was struggling because I was all the cheese and the meat together. It was very weird in my head, but it tasted amazing. And I don't know, I slowly grew out of it by slowly trying different foods and realising it was just mental, in my head.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, it was very bizarre.
You mentioned going to McDonald's, because one of the things we always ask on the show is, your 2 a.m. drunken order, you're on the way home. What is your go-to? We'd like to know if it's a McDonald's, a KFC, a Domino's, or is it something else? And if so, what are you ordering and why?
I always have a thing for... They got a very particular taste. It's because they're frozen stuff, and I wouldn't normally eat them when I'm sober. But if I've been on a night out and we're walking through town, I'll go straight to the kebab place. But I won't order a kebab. I'll order a kebab shop cheeseburger. They just hit different.
Oh.
Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
They just have a very unique taste. They all taste, no matter what kebab shop you go to, they all taste the same. It's bizarre.
In the yellow polystyrene box, that's what it's normally served. Yeah.
I find it quite satisfying watching them peel off the piece of paper on the frozen bit of beef and on the beef patty and then slapping it on.
Yeah.
That for me, I just love that, and I love the sound of the sizzle on the grill.
Yeah.
And what are you having on that? Are you getting lettuce, mayo, and tomato, that sort of stuff?
Cheese, lettuce, tomato, burger sauce, ketchup, you name it. Sweet corn. Yeah. No, when I'm drunk, anything, I'm just throw yourself on there. It's fine. I'll eat that.
But you're not a kebab person, then, so you wouldn't go for a kebab then?
Oh, I do like kebabs, but when I'm drunk, for some reason, I just crave those kebab shop cheeseburgers. It's different. There is actually a new one that's opened up down where I live, and unfortunately, due to the cost of living, they've had to close 2 restaurants. But it's called Bok Chicken, and I think they have one. Well, they had one in London, and it's probably some of the best fried chicken I've ever tasted. So if you're ever down in East Sussex in Hastings, Bok Chicken is some of the best fried chicken I've ever tried. And now if I'm in Hastings, I'll grab some Bok.
Love that. What a great recommendation. I have another question for you guys. So, question we sort of ask all of our guests, whether you've had any takeaway or delivery disasters.
So I did order from this one place. I can't even remember the name. And I think it's the worst thing that takeaways can do is when they send your food in those plastic Tupperware throwaway containers, because all the condensation and everything, it's just a tub of water by the time it's got to it.
So what had you ordered?
It was a Thai place, and everything, there was like a pint of water in all the food. And I called them up and I said, I just wanted some like spicy chicken wings. Literally, they were floating. That's how much moisture and water was in it. They were floating in the box, shaking. Just a box of water.
You talk about how particular you are with food. Are there any weird food combinations you enjoy? Like, for example, my thing is I really like Oreos, salt vinegar crisps, and milk at the same time. That's my big thing.
That's
it's amazing.
Horrendous.
It's incredible. It is. It's the vinegar which catches with the sweetness of the Oreo, and then it's all leveled out by the milk. It's amazing. I love it. It's incredible.
My daughter, she tortures me. Like I say, if we get a McDonald's, she'll have the 20 chicken nuggets and a strawberry milkshake, and she'll dip her chicken nuggets in the milkshake.
I'm quite into that. I think that's not a bad shout.
No! Does it work? How does that work? I've never thought I wish this chicken nugget tastes like strawberry.
I'm less adventurous than your daughter, so I would just do chips in a vanilla milkshake. It's very good. Does she go through all 20?
Yeah. She just like slurps it up. She just dips it in a strawberry milk, this battered chicken nugget, and she eats
And
it.
let's be honest, it's not a milkshake. It's a bit of ice. It's ice cream.
I suppose salt and sweet does work. I understand the balance of those two flavours being sort of, they play quite well together.
The classic combo. Yeah, but strawberry and chicken. Strawberry and chicken isn't the immediate balance.
No, it's horrendous. But no, I always stick to like what I know. And like I say, I've been on this journey of learning to cook. Because if I lived in somewhere like London where, you know, if I'm there overnight and I open up Just Eat and it's endless, the options are endless. I'm really glad that I don't have that option, because I'd be the size of a small house if I lived somewhere central.
So do you think there's something quite, the simplicity makes life easier? Because that is true. When you do it in a big city, you've gone through, and I have generally had situations, I've talked about it before, where I've taken so long. The place I wanted to order from is closed by the time I put an order in. Because I've gone around the house looking at all these options. I'll go back out. Of course they shut it, but like, now 10:30, what are you doing? But do you quite like the simplicity? Because these are my options. That is to make life much quicker.
I do like that, because I'm definitely a foodie. So living out here, it kind of forces you to be more of a cook at home, because we don't have all these options. Like, I have friends who come down from London and, you know, they're like, oh, let's just go to town. I'm like, no, the shops close at 6 around here. It's not like, you know. And we have like 3 options on Just Eat right now, and they're like, oh man, this sucks. You can tell that they've been like, this is their life, and it is life now. Yeah. Like, I'm trying to get my daughter into cooking and going out buying ingredients. There's all these local butchers and independent stores and organic foods. Like, they're all having to raise their prices, and they're all closing down because of these food apps. It's like the Amazon theory, isn't it? Like, all the high street is being killed off by Amazon. And I think you're mental to have a restaurant now. Like, the overheads and the costs are insane. And that's what my mum's going to do. My mum's going to start a food business from her kitchen.
What is your mum gonna sell?
So my mum is South African, and she's going to be doing South African food, and it's going to come with like pap. In Africa, they pick, it's like a plain dough essentially that you pick up with your hands, and you pick up the food and the sauces, and you eat with your fingers and stuff.
That's great. Amazing. Is that like a communal sharing dish, or is that just each person get their own pap?
Well, she's doing it like, it's kind of an infusion with African food. So she's doing like Italian with like African ingredients sort of thing. So she's infusing Africa with other types of ingredients, which, as I said, if you do it here, where we've only got 3 options, if that option pops up, you're going to make a killing.
So is this a food that you grew up with then? You grew up with South African food?
No, this is like my dad remarried, and now she's my mum sort of thing. So she's like, she's like my stepmom, and she's a proper leader. Like, she will, I say to her, I was like, Mum, listen, I'm coming down for tea. I've just eaten lunch, I want tea. And she's got a platter, a serving platter, and then she'll just bring out meats and stuff that she's cooked. I'm like, Mum.
I mean, this sounds great, to be honest. I wouldn't
it is great. But sometimes she doesn't take no for an answer. She's like, no, you have to try it. You're a growing boy. I'm like, yeah, no shit. Like, you're feeding me.
If I visit my mum within 3.5 seconds, she's offered me a bacon sandwich.
Yeah.
That's always what happens. As soon as the door opens, it's the first words, rather than, lovely to see you, love your son, whatever, it's always bacon sandwich.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I always say yes.
So, Daz, is your Subway now finished?
I don't think you've even had a bite yet, have you?
I've been picking at it like onions. I've been like subtly putting onions in it. But I haven't touched it because I thought we were going to do a segment of using it. So it's been very difficult.
We've arrived at that segment.
I think it should happen now. I think as we begin to wrap up, let's see you eat this Subway.
Let's wrap up as you unwrap. Oh, it's coming. Here we are. You can lean in for a bit of crunch against the microphone. Let's hear the... There you go. And lean away again, because that is actually more disgusting than I thought. Just lots of crime.
As Daz is chewing and swallowing there, I noticed that he's a very clean eater.
I can't stand it. I cannot stand.
You held that very delicately.
There's no need for it.
Someone playing a flute. It's lovely.
It was. And he pivoted, his mouth pivoted to catch the ingredients that would have otherwise fallen out in a less professional chew.
Absolutely delightful.
I can't stand it. Like when I would take my daughter to places like Canberra's kids centres, and you just see that these kids, like it's like they've been throwing food at them. They haven't been putting it in their mouth, and you've got those bibs that catch all the food. I'm like, that is awful. Like it should all go in the mouth. But I can't stand people that have food all over them.
So are you always quite a neat eater like that? Are you kind of
just exposed?
I'm not. I talk about this. If I go for a meal with my wife, my side of the table is always like a bomb's gone off. I always have to apologise to the waiter.
I can't do it. If something falls off the plate, I'm like, oh my god. Like I just see people like they got napkins down here. Like, there's no need for that. They should learn to eat. Don't let it just slop all down you. Can't stand it. Food around mouths and stuff. I'm like, can't do it.
how is this?
All right.
Sort of review your Subway. Let's get this. How are you feeling about it?
How much would you rate it out of 10?
Well, first of all, it's not bread, is it? Like it's actually legally classed as sugar now because of the sugar content in their bread. It's technically not bread,
right?
And nothing beats fresh homemade bread. I feel if I was to make, and I have, like my own tuna baguette sandwich, that would be like a solid 10. But this is an 8 for sure. But the Italian herb and cheese really makes up for it. So 8.5.
And do you want to do one final sort of plea to Subway to work with you?
Mr. Subway, listen, right? YouTube have changed their policies now, so I can't really swear that much. So review my content again. Okay, I'm plugging you here. Okay. Please give me something, Subway. Give me a card, something, a voucher. I don't care. Work.
Well, Daz, what an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for taking the time. I feel really bad that the Subway sandwich sat there for so long without you biting it. That is not good etiquette, is it?
But it did make for a good, clean bite when it did happen. So for that, we're forever grateful.
Imagine if you invited someone over for food, you made them a meal, you put it in front of them and said, before you bite that, let's talk for 48 minutes about your
Tell me a lie.
Before you eat that meal, let's just do a whole podcast for an hour, if that's all right.
Yeah, exactly. Tell me everything about food in your life, and then you can have a bite.
I didn't know, I didn't know. I didn't want to talk with my mouth open and stuff. I'm like, I don't know. But it's going down like that.
Well, we appreciate your patience.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Joy speaking to you. Enjoy the rest of your sandwich, and we'll see you again.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Daz.
Amazing. Thanks for having me. Cheers.
That was the fantastic Daz Black there. What an awesome guy. Absolutely loved speaking to him. I also think there might be something in that British spa food related experience. Do you think, Sim? I think there's money in that.
There's a lot of money in that. I am ready to invest.
This is the last podcast we're ever recording because we're now going to become billionaires off the back of that. In fact, I think it's quite an interesting area. If any of our listeners, you guys out there, feel you have a food, money, spinning idea, anything to do with takeaways, anything any weird restaurant idea, any weird food idea, whatever it is, we'd love to hear about it. And you can send us those ideas to hello@myfavouriteTakeawayPodcast.com, or you can hit us up on Instagram and slide into our DMs on My Favourite Takeaway Podcast. Either of those two will be wonderful, and we look forward to hearing from you.
Yes, we do. And please do remember to rate, review, and subscribe. It means a lot to us. And tune in next week for another episode of My Favourite Takeaway. See ya. Bye.
Sky Showtime giver de største premiere.
What am I doing for you?
Minions historien om Gro. Og eksklusive serier. Sylvester Stallones 12-sekunder og en anmelderroste Yellow Jackets. Kun på Sky Show. 69 kroner om måneden.
It's bud part 204.
204, I can't take it anymore. I'm quite tired today.
Yeah.
Because it's been a big weekend for me. I was at the O2 this weekend. I did my first arena gig.
You did double O2?
I doubled O2.
That's
this
crazy.
Weekend, yeah. The JFL Just for Laughs festival was in London for the first time. Proper.
Just for laughs.
That's all they're here for. Just laughs. Nothing else. No pathos.
Or bathos.
Like, our joke's all technically bathos.
Ooh.
Because bathos is sort of a build-up of pathos and then you portray it. Yeah, you pop it.
Oh, maybe you're right.
I mean, I almost called the show bathos because all jokes are bathos.
That's interesting. That'd be funny. A guy going, right, it's all bathos, people. If I see any pathos, I'm going to lose my fucking rag.
If I started a comedy festival, I call it Bathos Festival.
Bathos. Jeff Bathos. He's the funniest. That's his stage name.
Jeff Bathos.
Bathos. That's how you say it in Spanish.
Is it a Spanish name, Bathos?
No, like you listen to
Bathos, of course.
Bathos.
Yeah. But it's on the Friday night was the big gala hosted by Graham Norton.
Yes. Spangly Jacket?
Spangly Jacket himself.
Yeah.
Graham Norton. And he had a couple of drag queens on, Danny Beard and Bianca Del Rio, I think the name is.
Sure.
I mean, it's blind leading the blind.
Yeah. Like I was about to go, Bianca Del Rio doesn't work on the following month. No, I've got no idea.
Catherine Ryan, Joe Lycett, Jade Adams. And Sam Ryder off of Eurovision did 2 songs.
Oh.
The man with the biggest mouth in England. He can get his mouth big. When he sings, he goes, wow, like that.
Really?
Wow.
Like Freddie Mercury?
Yeah, big
Giant
time.
mouth.
I mean, he's a very good singer, but I think he's so good at singing because he opens his mouth big enough for all the notes to come out.
Yeah.
All the notes come out.
They come out without bumps on them from your teeth.
Yeah. Just a pure beam of...
Full letter.
It's like a hame-hame-ha or something. It's like... it's like a beam shooting out of his mouth. Space man!
Yeah. Mouth is more like just like a tuba opening.
Yeah, it really is.
A circle of sound.
People like to talk about the voice as their instrument, but for him it really is like a French horn. I met him backstage.
Yeah.
Very chill, very kind of hippie guy. Like, hey man, yeah, cool.
Oh really?
Shorter than I thought. He's about, he was about up to my chin maybe.
Oh really?
Yeah.
That is short.
Long hair. But sweet guy. But yeah, it was 7,000 people. Most of the people I've ever performed to.
What was that like? I mean, the most I've ever done would be Sheffield Town Hall supporting Frank, and that would have been 2,800.
Oh yeah.
2,800.
Wow. That's a big point.
But that was like a bit like gigging to the sea.
Yes, it is like gigging to the sea. That's exactly it.
Yeah.
I sort of, I could pick out the faces in the first 5 rows maybe, but then you can just sort of see the shadows all the way to the back because of the adverts around the perimeter of the arena. You get just enough light to see the shape of the crowd.
Right.
But they're like dark figures.
So it's like the audience in like one of those old pixel boxing games.
Yeah, well, it's more like
these sort of outlines of heads.
Well, they look like
forever.
spirits, like ghosts. It was kind of like...
Ominous.
Have you seen the new It?
No.
Well, when he opens his mouth, you look into it and you see all the souls he's eaten, and it's like transfixing. You kind of go away even though it's horrible. And it wasn't horrible, but it was like looking into
kind of Hades and all these souls there.
Oh, cool.
But I think the human mind can't really even compute that number of people. So
No.
I felt like I was performing to maybe 500 people.
Yeah, and was that that thing where you do the joke, you know, and it was my bum, or whatever, and it goes like
yeah,
that. It's like a.
The main thing was you have to give each joke a lot of time because the laugh has to go all the way to the back and then come back to you.
Yeah.
Because everyone sort of laughs out of step with each other anyway.
Yes.
But with that many people, it's just like every sort of version of laugh is there, so you just kind of have to wait for it all to ebb, and then you go again. But it was nice, it was fun, and I got to I've never done that before.
Did you move around a lot? I always feel like when I'm on a big stage, I always think, I don't really move, I don't need this. I would rather be on like a pillar.
Yeah, I became quite stationary, but when I started doing stand-up as a teenager, I would bound about stage, and then I became very, very static, and now I'm trying to be more mobile again.
Yeah, it's the thing with some gigs, small gigs, like stuff. The stage I'm thinking of here is maybe like something like Ruby Blue. In London, if you move, it's distracting. I think it's worse.